as a coder and a dev, what are your top three use cases and potential projects that can be massive for the Ergo community? So what would you say, Joe? What would you like to see built out more?
Okay, so I think that DeFi is probably going to be the most interesting use case long term. But then you have to say, okay, how do we balance that in a way that is really decentralized, resistant, censorship resistant, and creates value that isn't going to be at risk? I think, SIG-USD is a good start in terms of a decentralized stablecoin. I'm pretty excited about DEXI. I think there's a lot of potential DeFi frameworks out there that could do just a better job at being resilient than something like USDT, USDC. And personally, I think having that in the community versus some like external actor is so much more valuable and like resilient long term. So I think research and development around core elements of DeFi is still needed in this space. Because right now, basically what we've done is brought in a central dependency that brings in censorship risk with Ethereum potentially now has governance control over any type of network changes. So we really need to look at what parts of the industry that we're in are kind of now the third party that we need to get away from. And, long term, I think that could even include exchanges, right? Where, to some degree, I would love to wake up in an industry 3 years from now to where, you have mechanisms to onboard directly into ecosystems and you don't have to deal with those third parties. The same thing is true with mining pools. I would say some mining pools, that's one of the reasons GitBlock exists, is they kind of are a black box that miners have to trust. And so getting rid of trusted parties and building internal frameworks that are more resilient to like external influence long term, I think are massive. Like that's a huge value add that whether it's the consensus of the mining pools, the market of the exchanges, or just the internal core mechanisms of DeFi. I think really thinking about how we can remove dependencies and control risks could build a insulated system that is much more resilient long term. But that's hard to do. That takes time. That's not an easy task to just drop. But anyway, you want an honest answer? That's my honest answer.
Yeah. Well, I would say, okay, so we're picking three, right? So yeah, definitely DeFi, but not just DeFi, DeFi components, right? So we already have DeFi tooling on Ergo. And so I would like to see more kind of plug and play DeFi solutions that can be used with other projects, right? So other projects build an ecosystem. I would like to see DeFi solutions be kind of more of like a plug and play, well, virtually plug and play for different parts, like for micro lending, for liquidity provisions, for something like, like a DEX framework, just something like that, something that's readily available for people to use as a template and to plug into their project. I think that would be really, really useful. I also think that real world use case, like for example, what was mentioned before with traceability, with digital identity, those types of solutions, I think would be really good to build out. I mean, I'm talking more about products right now, obviously. That would be really good to build out on Ergo, I think, or to utilize Ergo, because Ergo is a highly secure blockchain. And again, you can add to the security of the blockchain, so you can incentivize, for example, if you have a DID solution on Ergo, you can incentivize the people that are, or the organization that's implementing the DID solution to add to the security of the network. So you can basically tell them, okay, you know what, if you'd like to contribute to this, you can run a few rigs. and and add to the network. So it's a good incentive. And let's say one more. Yeah, I would just say, again, something that can be utilized by. I'm all about commercial adoption, and I don't mean commercial adoption in the sense that let's make as much money as possible. I'm talking about commercial adoption in the sense that commercial adoption is where mass adoption happens a lot of times, right? So you get commercially adopted, you have real world use cases, you have people using it not just because it's blockchain, but because it makes their life easier because they want to use it, right? And so I guess my third one would be I would say, again, I guess it goes back to DeFi, but more financial solutions. Like what Joe said with in decentralized stablecoin. Things like that, things that can be utilized in the real world, in business, and it can be utilized for business, that does not require big time, real deep knowledge of what blockchain is about. Yes, I guess that would be my three.